In the run-up to the G20 finance ministers meeting, U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen is in India. This is her third visit to the country in 9 months and comes after a tour to China. As per the Treasury Department, Yellen will hold talks with her G20 counterparts and with a few Indian officials. Through G20, she will be pushing for reforms at the multilateral development banks. The Treasury Secretary will also call for actions to accelerate sluggish progress on debt restructuring processes for low-income countries. Both of these issues have been on US's agenda for quite some time now. While Turkey's President Erdogan had confirmed the renewal of the Black Sea grain deal, in a fresh development now, Russian President Vladimir Putin has reiterated that he sees no ground to renew the deal. During a phone call with South African President Cyril Ramaphosa, Putin said that commitments to remove obstacles to Russian food and fertilizer exports have not yet been fulfilled. Kremlin stresses that it would only extend the deal if its own conditions are met. Britain signs treaty to join Trans-Pacific Trade Pact, becoming the 12th member of the pact that cuts trade barriers as it seeks to deepen ties in the Pacific. After its exit from the European Union in 2020, the treaty was part of the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership Commission. A meeting which was conducted in New Zealand, ministers will meet later today to discuss various topics, including how to move forward with new applications. The CPTPP is a landmark trade pact agreed in 2018 between 11 countries. British Defence Minister Ben Wallace will step down as a lawmaker when Prime Minister Rishi Sunak carries out his next cabinet reshuffle. Wallace, member of the ruling Conservative Party, has been the Defence Secretary for 4 years. He helped lead Britain's response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Rishi Sunak is facing 3 by-elections the coming week, and according to opinion polls, his Conservative Party could lose all of them. South Korean search and rescue team pulled out at least 7 bodies from a flooded tunnel as the rescuers drained water out of the underpass to reach others who were trapped inside. At least 33 people have died due to torrential rains that have pounded the country, causing floods and landslides. President Yoon Suk-yeol ordered Prime Minister to mobilize all available resources in order to minimize the casualties, as more heavy rain was expected on the Korean peninsula in the coming week. United States, South Korea, and Japan conducted a joint naval missile defense exercise in the international waters between South Korea and Japan. According to South Korea's Navy, this trilateral drill was to counter North Korea's evolving nuclear and missile threats. North Korea fired its latest Hwasong-18 ICBM off its east coast as a strong practical warning to its adversaries. The trilateral drill aimed at mastering the Allies' responses to a North Korea's ICBM launch. Hundreds of people continue to rally in Peru to call for peace they have come together to express desire for peaceful resolution to the upcoming protests against President Dina Boluarte's government. Protests had gripped Peru last year after President Pedro Castillo was ousted and detained, and he illegally attempted to dissolve Congress. Pedro Castillo remains in jail, and his Vice President Dina Boluarte has served as president ever since. According to Peruvian Unified National Struggle Committee, they have ratified their decision to protest for president's resignation. Russia's air defense forces in the Black Sea shot down 8 Ukrainian drones over the Crimean port of Sevastopol early on Sunday. 1 drone was shot down over the sea. 5 were intercepted by Russia's electronic warfare forces, and 2 water surface drones were destroyed on the outer shore. The attacks were over the harbor of Sevastopol and the city's Balaklava and Kherson's districts. The Moscow-installed governor of Sevastopol said that no objects in the city or the water area were damaged. And in another fatal shooting in the United States, 4 people were killed in a suburban neighborhood in Hampton, in Georgia. The 40-year-old suspect, Andre Longmore, is still at large. Hampton Police Chief James Turner says that he is believed to be armed and dangerous. Henry County Sheriff said a $10,000 reward was being offered for any information leading to the arrest of Longmore. The sheriff also directly addressed the suspect, saying police will hunt him down until he's caught. Israel is gripped by protests as thousands of people took to the streets of Tel Aviv to protest for the 28th consecutive week against the government's planned judicial overhaul. Critics fear that the judicial overhaul aims to curb, quote, independence by Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. As per Netanyahu, who is on trial for corruption charges, these reforms would balance out branches of the government. Ukraine's First Lady, Olena Zelenska, met with her South Korean counterpart, Kim Kyung-hee, in Kiev. They held meetings and visited Kiev's Center for Protection of Children's Rights together. According to Zelenska, the center helps children who have witnessed Russian crimes and gives them psychological support, housing, and social assistance to affected families. Alzheimer's disease is now also being found in a much younger age group of patients aged 30 to 64. 3.9 million people in the said age bracket live with young onset Alzheimer's disease, a form of dementia in which symptoms appear before the age of 65. But while they may have less cognitive impairment at the time of diagnosis, studies have indicated that those living with young onset Alzheimer's disease show more rapid changes in their brain. This indicates that the condition can be more progressive and aggressive than late onset Alzheimer's disease and cause behavioral changes such as depression. Within 3 days of losing 6-year-old Tejas, India lost its 8th cheetah, Suraj, on Friday. Now, details are emerging from the chairman of the cheetah task force that the 3-year-old died of a disease called septicemia, caused due to skin chafing by his radio collar. According to reports, the GPS-enabled radio collar, which can track an animal from a radius of 5 kilometers, caused skin abrasions to the vulnerable cub, leading to maggot infestation in Suraj. Though the radio collars are supposed to be skin-friendly, the task force is trying to find out the reasons, apart from the wet and humid weather, behind abrasions that led to the septic infection. The U.S. tsunami warning system issued a tsunami warning in Alaska. This comes after an earthquake of magnitude 7.4 struck the Alaskan Peninsula early on Sunday. According to the United States Geological Survey, the quake, which was at a depth of 9.3 kilometers, struck Alaska. Lava and noxious gases were seen coming out of a volcano in Iceland on Saturday night. The eruption started in an uninhabited valley near the Litli Hutur mountain. Authorities urged people not to trek to the volcano, saying there may be dangerously high levels of volcanic gases accumulating close to the eruption. The volcano erupted twice in the last 2 years. It did not cause any damage or disruptions to flights, despite being near Keflavik Airport, which is Iceland's international air traffic hub. Remember, Iceland sits above a volcanic hotspot in the North Atlantic and averages an eruption every 4 to 5 years. China's BYD has submitted a $1 billion proposal to build EVs and batteries in partnership with a local Indian company. This comes just days after Tesla was in talks with Indian authorities for setting up an EV factory. Now, BYD and Hyderabad-based Mega Engineering and Infrastructures are looking to form an EV joint venture. BYD plans to build a full lineup of EVs in India, from hatchbacks to luxury models. However, both BYD and India's Commerce Ministry have not commented on the development. BYD's push into India is part of its rapid global expansion to challenge Tesla. In a significant development, India's payments system, UPI, is set to be adopted in France. Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced the agreement during his address to the Indian community in Paris. UPI is set to empower Indian tourists starting from the iconic Eiffel Tower. This move eliminates the need for forex cards and the inconvenience of carrying cash. This expansion of UPI to France adds to its growing international presence following agreements with Singapore's Pay Now and France's Lira. Further discussions are underway to extend UPI services to the US, other European countries, and West Asia. Advanced estimates show that Singapore's economy may have avoided a technical recession in the second quarter. In its annual review, the Monetary Authority of Singapore estimated the gross domestic product for 2023 to ease to a range of 0.5% to 2.5%. That is much lower than the growth of 3.6% in 2022. Singapore's manufacturing sector noticeably led declines in overall growth, contracting 7.5% from a year ago. But analysts remain upbeat that the return of Chinese tourists could give the city or the state's economy a boost that could help avoid a recession throughout the year. A stunning event took place in Louisiana when a green meteor lit up the sky over Lake Charles. It was a doorbell camera which captured the moment. According to American Meteor Society, meteors are fragments of space rocks that burn up when they enter the Earth's atmosphere at a high speed. The heat generated is so intense that it eventually burns up, which creates a flash of light. Germany's Berlin Zoo celebrated the birthday of a giant panda called Zhao King and invited many visitors to watch the black and white bear play with his special gift. Zookeepers gave Zhao King a jute sack stuffed with hay and rubbed with scented oils. Another giant panda, Meng Meng, celebrated her 10th birthday. As the most famous animals at the zoo, Meng Meng and Zhao King drew crowds of tourists to catch a glimpse of the fiery pandas. Costa Rican scientists discovered a deep-sea octopus nursery in an area previously thought to be unable to host octopus hatchlings. They were discovered by scientists from the University of Costa Rica and the Schmid Ocean Institute during an expedition last month. The nursery was found 3,000 meters deep. There are only 2 other known deep-sea nurseries like this in the world. The nestling area is known as the Dorado Outcrop, and it was first discovered in 2013. But back then, no developing embryos were seen.